Hey guys, just before we get into the tier list video, if you're part of the 54% of people that watch these videos and aren't subscribed, do yourself a favour, hit that subscribe button. I put a TCG video out every single day. Let's get into the fun stuff. Right, let's have a look. What have we still got? So we got the chart. We got the welders. Let's tackle some of the welders. So we've got a 4 welder decks here. We've got Macargo attack. We've got ABZ. We've got a green Zog. So that had inklings of doing well recently. And then we've got baby counts. Let's do baby counts first because I think that's going to be the easiest one. So baby clowns. Now Joe, we had a little discussion about this a little bit on the Facebook Messenger, as it were. Doesn't gain a whole lot. It gains potentially boss's orders, but we all know baby clowns now. We all know it's a silly deck, and it's one of my least favorite decks to play against. With that being said, where would you put it?
I think actually the biggest card it gains is Ninetales V to help out against control. That's like one of the things it scoops to at the moment. But potentially yoinking some resource managements on your own end to keep you in the game is quite nice. I don't think it even plays boss's orders. I don't think my list would play it because you're so reliant on welder anyways. I think you just try and hit what's in front of you like it kind of does at the moment and have Cramorant in there for those other occasions. I'm a little bit worried about being so Jirachi and focused because there is Dragapult as a concern now. Dragapult is also, from what I've seen in the Japanese lists, and also from what I've seen some of the more successful ADP lists, is that they're heavy Marnie based. And that's one of the only things keeping Blacephaleon from being like crazy. I know some of the successful ADPs in the Limitless tournament. I know Tord played for Marnie, so certainly a good number of high Marnie counts in ADP going forward, and probably Dragapult as well because they're fairly low maintenance and you have to disrupt these sorts of decks somehow. So I think it's still tier 1 for me, Blacephaleon, but it's just kind of, there are a few more foils for it now. I think Dragapult isn't necessarily as free as you'd think just because it gives up more prizes, etc. I think it's low-key gaining nothing and there's a few things that challenge it, but I would still keep it in tier 1 because we know how successful it's been.
Jack, does that sound pretty fair?
Yeah, I agree entirely. I think it's still very strong. These 3 prizes that are coming out of the woodwork, yes, they seem scary, but also you trade up on them. So yeah, it doesn't gain much, but I don't think it needs to gain much because I think it's a very, very not consistent 16, a very, very strong 16 already. So I don't think it needed to gain much to still stay relevant. But yeah, Dragapult is a little bit scary, and Marnie theoretically getting better and better. With these stage 1 decks being more combo based because you need to evolve. Yeah, that does scare me a little bit. I've never played much baby clowns myself, but it's another deck that's come out of the woodwork in formats where it doesn't seem good and it's been insane, and it seems pretty good in this format, so I think it's definitely not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, I think I echo that all completely. Like baby clowns, and this happens a lot with new sets because about people like to get excited, like, oh, look at Dragapult, look at this, oh, this is the end of this. Like, let's not forget now, baby clowns, all it has to do is just match the number of energy in its hand and you can just one-shot anything. Like, I saw a meme on Twitter where if I remember to put it on the screen, I'll put it on the screen now, but it's like this big Coparaja, right? And he was tying above, and there's a Blacephaleon throwing fire energies out, and he's like, lol, I've got a frying pan, what are you going to do? I've got 340 HP, and the Blacephaleon just scratches his head, gets 8 energies, like, there you go then. So like let's not forget, it's got an unlimited damage cap, guys. You might think, oh, 340 or 320 is a high number. Like, I'm sure baby clowns will find a way. Like, it doesn't need to gain a lot to still be bonkers, and at face value it's bonkers, and I think it still remains to be bonkers, and I think tier 1 is where I'll be putting it as well. Hate the card, I hate the deck, hate it with a passion, don't get me wrong, like, but I have to respect its power level. Let's have a gander. Let's move into the Charizards. ABZ. Now, I know, Joe, you played a lot of ABZ before in the past. I haven't touched ABZ at all. I respect it as a deck, but I know one of the main selling points before was having the really good Gust. Now, I think I'll probably prefer Ninetales to a Boss's Orders, but now that Boss's Orders is a thing, does that sort of undersell the main selling point to ABZ? Is there much reason to play it still?
Yeah, kind of, and also it means decks can deal with your Ninetales a lot easier.
Yeah, that's fair.
I remember when Ability Zard was super hype after Worlds, and then it didn't convert very well in future tournaments, and that's a lot of the time because like mirrors were knocking each other out, and people were finding ways to kill Ninetales and stuff. People moved to custom catchers basically, whereas at Worlds it was mainly great catcher based. So the fact that everyone can like deal with your Ninetales and then you have to deal with like the one prize that they use to take a knockout is such a pain in the neck for ability Zard. But everything else is still like ship-shape for Zard. Its typing is still like reasonable. Again, Dragapult's a concern. Its hit points kind of stays out of range of most things.
Yep.
Over even a couple of turns now, which is pretty worrying. And also, you're very Dedenne and Jirachi reliant, and you can't not be as this sort of deck.
Yeah.
Because you're playing 18 energy and you need those cards for consistency. Getting Eldegoss is a nice like little bit of safety net, but that's really about it. So I'd keep it at like the 1.5-2 category, but I don't think I'd have it much higher than that.
Yeah. Jack, what's your opinion on ABZ?
Yeah, it feels fair. It feels like some kind of welder box based list would always be pretty good just because of flexibility.
Yeah.
It's never felt. I played abilities out a lot, and since moving away from it, I've been very reluctant to go back to it. But I still think it has pretty good merit just because it's always going to be one of the most aggressive decks. Losing Welder turn 1 is a bit scary for it when the rule change came around, but I still think it can compete. Maybe going to the Limitless Sheffield Regionals style build of playing a clown of your own and going down to like 16 energy might be a way to try and reach up to the 220s, 320s, 330s. But yeah, I haven't thought about that too much. But yeah, it seems like it will always be fairly relevant just because Welder is such a strong card, and as long as you've got targets to attach fire energy to, it feels like it'll always be tier 2 at least.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it in about 1.5 because I have to respect it. Like, I mean, like granted, like we said, everyone's thinking VMAXs are gonna rule the format, but if VMAX doesn't take off in the way we all think it does, ABZ then at that point is still an absolute beat stick of a deck. And yeah, I think I have to respect it too much. I mean, I want to put it in 2, but I think I'm going to respect it a little bit. I'm going to keep it in 1.5. I think I can't put it any higher than that, obviously, but I don't think. I mean, I think it's going to be better than Toxicity, and I can't have it in the same tier. So that's where I'm sitting on the ABZ. Green Zard, however, now I know this is a deck that Stefan Ivanov, another channel as well, he's been championing a lot of this format, this Sword and Shield format. I've had a chat to him about it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, he ain't convinced me very much. Joe, what are you thinking about Green Zard?
I'm not like super enthusiastic about it either, to be honest. There's not much that changes for it in terms of its matchup spread. You're still worried about some of the one prize stuff. You still don't feel great against Mill unless you're getting out your Omastar stuff, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always been anti-greens anyway, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. But I would definitely wouldn't put it above Ability Zard, for example.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Jack, does that seem fair to you? Definitely can't get above ABZ, right?
No, it's not above ABZ. It's probably like we said when we were talking about Malamar VMax. It's probably like one of the best greens decks. It's just how good are greens decks. I'd probably put it like tier 2 at best. Maybe if we're putting Malamar in tier 2.5, maybe like between 2 and 2.5. Yeah, it's probably again one of the best greens decks, but outside of that, I don't think there's much merit to playing a control style game when the format's so aggressive anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. With all that being said, I'm putting in 2.5. I don't think it's going to be that great. Like, in all fairness, I could be wrong. This could be one rare take where I'm going to be proved wrong. And you know what? If I am, leave it in the comments. I'm sure you'll let me know. YouTube, I know what you like these days. But for now, I'm going to leave it in 2.5. I'm not convinced. Right, so speaking of decks that I feel will be in the sort of 2.5 free range, let's knock Macargo out. Now, last format, Sword and Shield, it was around, it could sort of welder attach, crush and charge, bish bash bosh, here's 8 energy, buff, see you later. That being said, I haven't actually given Macargo much thought in this new meta, in all honesty. I don't like Dragapult being in format because it can just ping away you smooth overs like there's no tomorrow. Joe, have you given much Macargo thought?
That's exactly my fear of this deck. Just Dragapult ruining your engine is quite a worry. So I think Magcargo, like in current format, isn't really higher than like 2.
Yep, that's fair.
I don't think it's like so much worse that it drops down much further. So I'd still keep it around that 2 area.
Yeah,
it's still like okay against ADP and other Zacian lists. It's okay against some of the tag teams. So and it's actually like okay against like Toxtricity and stuff because its natural output is pretty good. So I'd keep it in that sort of 2 category. But there is that sort of like word of warning that Magcargo is way less safe now because of Gust and because of Dragapult in general.
Yeah. Jack, have you given much Magcargo for?
I mean, the only thought I've given it is the fact that, like we said, the smooth overs are so much less safe, and that's kind of the Dex engine. It can still output numbers, but I think in a similar reason as to why the Magcargo Mill variants are worse because their engine is much less safe now. I think Magcargo is much less safe.
I think that seems pretty sensible. With that all being said, I think I'm going to leave it. I'm going to put it in tier 2. Like we said, like because it is consistent. Like it has the potential to uptrade, but like we said, Dragapult could be a big, bad, scary geezer. But I don't think I look at the 2.5 decks and I can't put Magcargo and Darkbox in the same tier. Like I can't do that, so I'm gonna leave it in tier 2. Or Tangrowth as well. Tangrowth is 2.5, so I can't put Magcargo that bad. But yeah, word of warning though, that could be a scary deck to pilot. Speaking of underwhelming VMaxes, this is probably the one I just can't see a route to victory or being good the most, and this is Cinderace. Jack or Joe, anyone, Joe, talk to me about Cinderace because this is another one where it's been on my sort of 20 days list for so long. I just keep pushing it back. I'm thinking, why would I bother putting time into this? How do you feel about Cinderace?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I would give you the one-word answer of LOL if it makes it easier, but like,
okay,
it's very responsive as a damage output. It's reliant on welder, and you're also a stage 1, so you've got the issue of trying to draw a low amount of cards, but get a lot set up. One of the best selling points, I guess, is that the regular V has free retreat all the time, so you can try and sustain a Jirachi engine. So your early game is never that bad, but like, just when you're like, your opponent can literally just pass into you on turns until they're ready to either gust around you or like prod you to put you in range at times. So it's like you're just passing into people and hoping they don't have the answers in their deck at times, and that sounds like such a bad strategy. You never want to be passive in the TCG. Giving people turn, like, the best way to win games is giving your opponent the least amount of turns to win most of the time, right? So literally being like, here you go, bud, I'm going to hit you for 30 and hope you do something to me next turn.
It's funny.
It's trash.
It's funny because I think I said this in the stream I did once where I was like, I put a lot of time into Pidgeot Jolteon. So I think if you want to try and lean into the counter, I just don't think it's as good. Like, because counter on Pidgeot was for 1, you had max potion in format, you had time people, you just keep reusing it, and then with a Fury Belt, you weren't going to one-shot it. And which, to be fair, you can't really one-shot a Cinderace, but your counter is for 2 now. Okay, there is no sort of max potion. There is no I'm just going to erase all my damage in one turn. If you sort of lean into like your Malolanas and that, like we said, the format is so bonkers now. Like a Zacian can hit you, and if you Malolana, they can just Zacian you again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it isn't like you can out heal it. And then so if you want to try and take sort of not build around the counter, you want to lean into your other attack. That's just 3 for 170. And if you put in three reds on somewhere, I'm sure you can be doing better than 170. So I don't know. It just seems.
Yeah,
so you carry on.
Like, if you're leaning into the selling point, you're then also playing non-consistency cards like everywhere. You're playing a bunch of Hyper Potion or Malolanas, and then you're just like an inconsistent mess, really.
Like it just doesn't seem like it's a lot easier when you just go max potion, bang, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Which you can't do now. Jack, what are your thoughts on Cinderace?
There's so many better red Pokemon. I don't have anything more to say because you've said everything I would say. Like, if you want to build a fire deck, there's so many better fire decks out there. So and that's my 2 cents. It's just not good enough.
Load of rubbish. Sorry, lad. I do like Cinderace as well. I think if I'm going to find myself playing a Cinderace deck, it's probably going to be the baby one, in all fair. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's keep on the sort of stuff. Let's bash out some of these ones I think we all know are going to be quite low. Arcanine, Burning Scarf, Joe.
Lol.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Jack, anything to add there? An Arcanine Burning Scarf.
It's a budget deck. It's pretty bad other than that.
I think it's a pretty bad budget deck at that point as well. What other low ones?
Hey guys, thanks for watching that video, much appreciated, really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't hesitate to subscribe. I try and put out as much stuff here as I can, full deck profiles plus games, topic conversational pieces regarding anything in the TCG. Check out my Twitter, check out my Facebook, that's where I get most of the updates, sort of see what's going on behind the scenes, all that good stuff. Also check out the SoundCloud for the full bi-weekly podcast. If you're interested, if you like the conversational pieces, go check that out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a good day.